because we've not invited anybody to the sets of this particular film.
Okay.
This is like the last 3 minutes of the film, and you're privy to that.
Now I want to start this fantastic first conversation with this filmmaker that I've never met before. Gautham, but I have this very serious question, because we have this casual talk going on every time. Do you think filmmakers and critics can be friends?
We are friends, right, for like many years. We've not had a problem with each other. Even when you rip me apart, it's not like I'm calling you and saying, Daddy, why did you say this?
Okay, so that you're saying that this kind of like a casualness doesn't affect anything. It's like
No.
it's
See,
you never feel like when I gave you that review for Acham and Vettaiyaadu, just like does not like, oh my God, Barry did this to me, and it
I didn't call you also.
No, you didn't. But
and we've spoken many times after that without. And you
know,
told me what you felt about
But I'll
the
tell you
film.
honestly, it does cause a twinge as a reviewer when I'm reviewing a film of a person that I know. And that's likely to happen with many people, because when you're in the business for a long time, reviewing, you meet a lot of people, and there are lots of nice people, and not everybody in the film industry.
Let me make it very clear, and you know that too. I'm not being friendly
you're
with
not,
you
yeah.
because I want a great review from you. But
I
that's
think I'm
your
going to give a
job.
great review for this film, though.
That's your job. I really hope, because I need that great review. Nobody's giving great reviews these days for any film. I think Dhanush got a lot of good reviews. I think after a long time I saw.
Dhanush's film really
people
worked.
telling me the reviews really are like positive for the film, right? So I'm really happy about that. Because they do seem to sort of determine what a film will do. Initially and all that. It's like really matters.
You really think reviews matter?
I think so. Because it really affect a film, right?
I don't know, because I always feel that when a film comes out, the Twitter, first day, first show, the tweets that start rolling out, I think those are the things that actually determine what the feedback word of mouth is. The review is kind of like there are 2 or 3 reviewers that people have constant, and I'm not one of them. That people follow for the sake of, should I see this movie or not? But I think that
was bait, because I was trying to see what you will say. I honestly don't think 6 lakh people, will either tweet about something like that. And if I get like 25 lakh people watching a song on opening day, are they all going to come to theatre? I don't know that. If they're all given positive responses to the song that they've seen. So I don't know how this works actually.
So
I'm clueless. I'm just hoping my film will work. That's all.
But it should. And one thing I wanted to ask you is, I think we should go inside, because
we'll go.
Change of scenery is the whole point of this interview.
Actually, this is the first, because we've not invited anybody to the sets of this particular film. This is like the last 3 minutes of the film, and you're privy to that.
And then you're shooting an action scene here.
I'm shooting there's a dialogue scene also, there's a conversation, and then it eventually gets into an action.
So basically, like you said, it's like the finale of the film, right? Like usually all your films, they are either written or co-written by you. This is the first time you're actually going to somebody else's material, and that is Jai Mohan. What's that like?
I loved it. So I was all set to start a film with Simba, which is a love story, and probably 2 weeks before the planned shoot date, I had a chance meeting with Jai Mohan, and it was not a chance meeting. I actually reached out to him, and we were really talking about films and stories and all, and he narrated something that he had based on something I had asked him. I asked him about the life of gangsters and something like that do you have. So he told me something which is unconnected with what I had asked him about. So I said, okay, so after this 10 minutes, what happens? I asked him. He said, that I've left to the imagination of the reader. But I want to tell you what I wanted to do with this. And he narrated an idea which took off from the 10 minutes. I loved it. And I said, let's work on this. He said, okay, I'll write something for you. And he came back he's very prolific as a writer. So I think even 3-4 days, he gave me like a 120 page screenplay with a character, named Muttu and his journey sort of a thing.
So it was not a story, it was a screenplay.
It was a screenplay. Yeah, it was a screenplay. But even his screenplays are like reading a book, actually, very descriptive and
Right.
and all that. So you have to visualize that. You have to find a cinematic language within that and take it. So it's not essentially a screenplay, but he had written it like scenes and descriptions and all that stuff. And then he told me this will work for a newcomer hero, he said.
Okay.
With nobody with an image and all that. I said, no, I have Simbu. He said, I'm not sure if this will work for Simbu. I said, I'll make it work. That's up to me. Simbu has to like it and the producer has to. Two important people who have got to say yes to what I had, because they were all set to start something else with me. So I narrated to Simbu, I narrated to the producer, Mr. Aishri Ganesh, and they both said, go ahead, if this is what you want to do, we love it. And Simbu liking it was really heartening in that sense, because I went in with a lot of, I wasn't sure. We met at this rooftop of a hotel and all that, and I gave him a 2.5 hour narration. And the first thing he said was, I know what you're trying to do, let's do this. And I also told him, see, this is written essentially for somebody without an image. People have to believe that this boy is 19 and then he travels through the film. It's a journey and all that. He said, I'll do whatever you want me to do, I'll give you, he said. And immediately we started work on the look and stuff like that. But did I enjoy the process of working on something that was given to me? Yes, I loved it. I have to own it. So
Yeah,
I've shared screenplay credit with him because I have owned it in that sense.
Like you
Yeah,
tweaked
I
what
have
you
to
want.
visualize it like how you'll see it on screen. I've added my bits. The story was given to me, all the moments were given to me. His wife told him apparently, என்ன ஒரு romantic director work பண்றீங்க, ஒரு love scene கூட இல்லையே and all that. So he told me that's your department. I've set it up in the film for you, you take it forward, which I've done. So I think somebody who saw the film recently said, this is the only part that when I'm seeing in the film, reminds me that this is a Gautham Vasudev Menon film.
Okay.
And the rest of the film doesn't look like something that you've made. I take it as a compliment.
That's a good thing?
Yeah, it's a good
Okay,
thing.
okay.
Yeah.
Because don't we come to your movies because we want your flavor?
But I've also heard people telling me, you kind of, with Yenayar in the connect to Vettaiyaadu and Kaka Kaka, is pretty much in the same zone, we want something different from you. I've heard that also.
It's a strange dilemma because I think people say this, that if you do the same thing, they'll say, they're doing the same thing all over again. But then if you try and deviate from that, they say, what is this? Why is Gautham going to this area? Why can't he stick to his core? We've seen that happen with Mani Ratnam, for instance. It's like sometimes, they kind of, it's like he pushes every time but he's known for his 3 romances, which are actually separated by huge amounts of time. And yet people just bracket him as a romantic director, right? Mauna Ragam, Alepaide and OK Kanmani,
Yeah.
there's a ton of movies in between them, but it's still those 3 things that
Yeah.
so, and you're like that. It's like you do action and you do romance together. And I think the one of the films that you got it really, really, the balance was fantastic was in Kaka Kaka, which was also a time when songs used to be something that you used to expect and wait forward, for on the big screen.
Yeah.
I still remember, like, Vetri also talked about it, Yennai Konja Matri and all that, and now songs have become this
I know.
disposable thing. Are we having songs in this film?
Yeah, there are songs. in this film.
Full-on songs?
Yeah, absolutely. There are
Not
full-on
not
songs.
background things. Okay.
There's that also, and there are full-on songs also.
Okay.
Not maybe 5-6 like I normally have in films.
Right.
And I felt these songs take the story forward.
Right.
Like you also talked about how I take the audience through a certain time period in a song. Right?
Yeah.
I've done that.
You've done
also
that.
in this.
You've done the
Yeah.
passage of time.
Yeah, I've
thing.
done that.
Okay, right.
I've done that. But yeah, it is a situation. I don't know if everybody will just say, hey, nice that he's come to something like this, because they might expect something from me.
Right.
But I know there will be an audience that will also say, good, he's done something very different from what he's normally done. But if you ask me, I love doing it. I discovered something within myself.
Right.
I also realized that I love to direct material that's given to me, and I can really do it well. Whether it works or not, now that's up to the audience to figure out.
Right.
But I found one process. I found one heart while I was doing this, is what I think. Clearly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, you're like, when you come to Minnale and you're this young kid from, mechanical engineering, you've done your stint with Rajiv Menon and all that, and now you're the senior director, and like everybody says Gautham sir, and like you've ascended the steps, so to speak. How does that feel that somebody else is owning the young kid on the block?
I feel normal about it. I talk to all these guys. So, and honestly, I'm saying, I'm not trying to be modest or anything. I've not seen myself as that sir as yet. In fact, if you straight away ask somebody in my unit or my close team, I've told them many times not to call me sir, and maybe if they feel awkward to call me, at least call me GVM. You know, which I'm okay with, which is something that I've not heard also.
Right.
GVM is something that's very media put out sort of. Nobody calls me at home also like that. But again, that's not me being modest. I still don't feel I'm in that senior space as yet.
Right.
But I also do understand that there are a lot of young kids on the block who are doing really well and their films are making a lot of money. And these are guys whom I speak to also.
Yeah.
Like I've interacted with them. I've almost acted in a couple of films.
You're acting everything.
Lokesh asked me to act in Vikram, but then things didn't work out. And now he's given me a call to act in his next film also.
What were you supposed to act in Vikram as?
I think I was supposed to do the role that Chemban Vinod did finally.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was right in the middle of this, and I think he'd asked for a certain number of days. I would love to have some screen space with Kamal sir, somewhere in the backdrop, not as an actor, but just to be around. So for me,
and you're in his next film as well.
I don't know that he's given me a call, and he said, so the word is out.
You have to. This will at least give you a mental completion of.
No, I want to.
Because Johan didn't get made, and this will
I
kind
don't
of
know
complete
about
that circle.
I don't know about that. I mean, I'd love to do a film with Vijay, but he's given me a call and he said he'll talk to me about it further on. So I'm hoping he'll not forget and call me again. So
that would be great.
Yeah.
So
these guys I like and respect. So I have no problem with them being around, obviously.
Right.
And I want to watch their films. I'm in their films on the first day, first show. Wanted to see what they've done, and immediately a call and a text goes out and stuff like that.
Yeah. No. I'm just talking about how it feels, because the thing is, like in a strange way, it's like, I'm not really comparing myself to you, but today, the YouTube space, when I see the YouTube space, when I see the new reviewers coming out today and giving reviews, the flavor is a lot different. The people that enjoy them are like, there's much more of them, my reviewers probably tend to be in a slightly different bracket. So I can see certain, changes happening there, with my, viewership or whatever it is. So, and that must be magnified several times for somebody there, in the sense that you're aware of it.
Yeah.
Okay, today people like this, they don't like this, but you keep track of everything.
Yeah, I do.
Is that something you do? You go watch as much as possible?
I watch all the films that come out. I really like Gargi, and I think there's a director to look out for.
That was a superb film,
I like the way he'd handle that particular material, And Lokesh, of course, we've interacted a lot also. Karthik Subbaraj, I've gone and spent time at his office talking to them, hung out with them and all that stuff. So I'm not insecure about my work, and hence I think falls in place.
Comes through.
That's all.
Yeah. So when this scene is happening, it's something that you added after Jayamohan's script.
Yeah.
So this is completely your addition.
Yeah. So in his script there was a different, slightly milder, calmer finish for the film. We went with what's happening with the audience in the theaters, and we thought, after having spoken to Simbu and the producer and the team,
right,
we thought this needs a slightly more flash,
like a
brilliant sort of thing. It needs that little bit of explosion, I thought. So then I had to convince Jayamohan sir to write this for me.
Nice.
There was a little back and forth. And then he said, okay, I understand. And then I set up a scene, and he sort of worked on the lines with me, and then we got this done together.
Does collaboration come easy to you?
It comes very easily to me. In fact, I have 3-4 more stories and scripts that Jayamohan sir is writing for me, which I'm looking forward to, film very soon at some point.
So your thing is that, Minale was 2001, so that's like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You worked by yourself. Is there a sense that, and I ask this with utmost respect, even though I consider you a friend, not out of anything, but is there a sense of maybe I'm in a zone where I could use some external inputs, and or do you still feel I still have a lot of stories within me that I can still tell?
I don't know if you know, and I'm sure you do, and I'll just remind you that my first film, Minale, was also written by this writer called Vipul Shah from
I don't know, I'm just like
from Bombay.
My God, this smells potent. Okay, sorry. Minale. Yeah.
Maddie introduced me to Vipul, who is now a very dear friend and a colleague and somebody who wants to work with me further and all that. So Vipul wrote a lot of scenes of Minale. Some scenes in Kaka Kaka I discussed with him. I went to Anurag Kashyap for Kaka Kaka's writing.
I
met Jaideep Sahani. I met Anjum Rajabali. Writers like this. In Tamil, I met Balakumaran sir, I met Patukotti Prabhakaran, I met people in that zone, Selvaraj sir, whom people...
Selvaraj.
Yes, so I met him also, but eventually I got down to writing it myself. I am a reluctant writer, I always look to collaborate. And then Pachekali Muthucharam was actually a book that Anurag Kashyap mentioned that you should make and do. It's detailed, right?
Yeah.
So I went to him only to write it for me. So I've always looked to collaborate. And then Nidanin Purusnam was Reshma's story, which I worked on the screenplay completely. And I have to own it, right? And then Queen happened. So I love the process and I look forward to collaboration. I've looked forward to always.
Right.
I have stories. I have a lot more stories. And I think I'm traversing into newer areas, so to speak, in which I need collabs and help from other people that will help, I think.
Right. So what would you call your older area?
It's what I wanted to do for the first 10 years of my life, and only thing is I ended up becoming 20.
Which is like action/romance.
Romance.
Okay.
So this is also action, there's also romance in this. But newer people for me, I'm saying, getting into a zone that... So Jay Mohan sir said this to me. He says, you've been writing generally from what you've seen around you in your life, your family, moments from, maybe the woman that you've met, and written screenplays based on that. Now you're directing a film that's completely a new area for you, which you've studied to understand. That's when a director stands out, is what he said, when he gave me the script and when he saw the film also.
Right.
And he compared this to a Mani sir doing Ponniyin Selvan. It's a huge comparison. Maybe not even the right comparison, but he said there also it's a zone that a director is getting into, which is not his area,
which is not
so to speak,
something that one is associated
with. Okay. And then you need to see how a director handles that. And he's done it brilliantly also, is what Jay Mohan sir said. And please, this is not meant to sound condescending or anything like that.
It's like, I mean, in terms of where the guy comes from, things like that.
Yeah, in that sense, where he comes from, what he gets into. And you can do anything. It's like, my biggest example is Richard Attenborough directed Gandhi, right? One actress recently said when she read a script of mine, which somebody has written, I don't see you directing the script. I said, no, I'll own it. My job is to first get you to read the script. And if you like it, I'll get into it. That's my job. No, somehow I don't see you directing, this is not in your zone. So that's when all these, thoughts and words and terms come into your head.
Yeah, and white noise.
Yeah, absolutely. So I realized that I did my research. I went in, I found out, I spoke to people. And Jay Mohan sir was huge. Like, he was there right through with us. Not on location, but every evening I'll call him, or every afternoon, in the middle of a show also, I'll call him and say, sir, in the line mattum ipdi setha epdi irukum. In the reason sollama. And he'll say, assistant director sonnangla. Assistant director sonna pechu kekve kekadinga and all that stuff. So there was always one research or finding out, to own it, sort of thing. Yeah.
So this is in a way a kind of transition movie for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it's like...
I look at it as the first 20 years, and this is hopefully the next.
The next, yeah. I'm like, that's really exciting, because what happens sometimes is, a director so well, rather a director's work so well, that it takes a little bit of time for the readjustment, and I'm really excited about this whole project of yours. But tell me, that love story that you wanted to do with Simbu, is that still something that you want to do?
Yes, because it's a great story. Yeah, I really thought it should be done.
Right, because for me, even in Enenoki Payam Tota, which practically was not a very well received film, I really liked certain things you did with the love angle in that love track in that movie. I liked certain things that you did with the voiceovers in that movie, which really worked for me, because I'm a big fan of voiceovers. But there is this noise that comes in, and like a delusion says somebody's finished, this voiceover technique is over, that this is not working anymore. How do you react to something like that? Because but today there are people seeing Enenoki Payam Tota and saying things like, actually it wasn't, it's not what the reception that it got. I don't know why it happened, because it's taken in a different medium probably. And almost always when a new film is released, and especially if it's a big director, the hype is enormous. Like, everybody wants to weigh in, and they want to weigh in only on a 1-0 scale. They don't want to say, this works, this doesn't, this works, this doesn't. It's like, it's either fully trash or fully something. Yeah. So when some reaction like that comes to a film you worked hard on, and you've really pushed the use of voiceovers. I remember you telling me in an interview that I have really pushed the use of voiceovers in this film, and I felt it in that film.
Yeah.
That's so that the voiceovers really worked for me. But could it just be that I'm the one person who liked the voiceovers, or do you think that sometimes movies just get the reaction that comes is a little disproportionate to what they should be?
I think so. Two people liked voiceovers, is me and you, I think, not many other people.
Okay, all right.
In fact, when the voiceovers are not being readied, as in the sense Dhanush didn't dub it as yet, there was a call to even do away with the voiceovers. But I'd shot certain scenes with the voiceover in mind, you know, so I had to get him to do it. And he, very honestly, Dhanush didn't push and do those voiceovers. He gave me a very flat rendition in half an hour of the entire film. Again, there were a lot of things that didn't work between me and Dhanush because of the production and the whole film itself. The first half was only my film. Second half went all over the place. I just had to finish the film and all that to put it out. So there are some good things that came out from the film. I met Aishri Ganesh, and then there's a journey with him. You know, I really like how he's producing these films with me and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the bad parts where Dhanush looks right through me now. So he probably associates the failure of ENPT or the whole journey that went into, and how he came out of ENPT as scarring or something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe he was scarred, I'm saying. So there's no equation right now between us.
Right.
But I honestly feel he gave me like 5 hours to dub that film, and I had dubbed that voiceover a certain way and it didn't come out that way. But having said that, I've written a lot of my films based on, this voiceover style narration and all that, and I'm scared to do that now.
You haven't done it
I
here.
haven't done it here. And Jay Monsa also mentioned that since there was a negative thing coming out from that film, and you've done it in many other films, let's not do that in the screenplay at all, Gautham, he said. So even recently when I asked him, should I, this moment can be described, should we have he said, no, let's not do it.
Right.
Like the last 3 minutes of the film, shall we do it? He said, no, because you come from somewhere that didn't work, let's keep the audience away from any of your earlier films, is what he said. And he's like you, back in the sense, again, it might not be a correct comparison, but he's somebody who's, like, if I ask you about any film, you'll tell me something about that film and maybe how it worked and what didn't work in that film as a critic or as somebody who's reviewed the film or as just a film buff, right? He's like that. He talks about films. He knows about films.
Yeah.
So I'd rather take his word is what I thought, and then, just stay quiet.
Cool. So we're going to miss the voiceovers here. And
Probably just you.
yeah, but another thing that I also, this is something that Maniratnam said long back. I don't know which context. He said one of the director's jobs is to challenge the audience. So if you challenge the audience now, 10 years later, the thing that they resisted or the thing that they fought against or said that was not working. Today, for instance, you find a lot of people saying, I don't know why Kannathil Muthamittal flopped, it's such a nice movie. And then Karthik Subbaraj quotes this as one of his directorial go-to films and things like that. Do you think that is also something that you might want to consider, that, see, you've tried this, it's not working now, but you've laid the seed for something that might work like later?
I always believe that most of my work has been that. Either, like Nidan and Punvasnam, a lot of people saw it later. Wherever, and they liked it.
That's another film that I liked right at the beginning.
And they revisit a lot of other films also, and they talk about it. Vinitandi is still playing in the theatres to that extent.
How does it keep coming up?
It's I wonder who's making that money.
Yeah. It's not coming back to you.
No way. No way. There was a producer, so I'm sure. At least I'm hoping he does. He is.
Yeah.
So I'm saying I've always felt like that about my work, that nothing goes unnoticed. So, and this work is forever, right? But it's not going to be just noticed today.
Yeah.
It's meant to be noticed even later, and I'm happy with that also. Except there is a producer, and then there's a certain amount of money that's put in. So when the film releases, I'm really hoping the money is recovered, and then there is an audience that, in hordes likes the film and all that.
Right.
I'm hoping always, yeah.
So this is a film that was, has he come, he's ready?
Ready, yeah?
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll
it
take
began before the pandemic, right? Sometime during.
No, we started shoot in August last year.
2021.
Yeah, and we're releasing September 22.
Okay, so there was not that much of a break or something like that.
We all had to be careful and stuff. There were no breaks because of COVID as such. But we just had to be really careful. We're shooting in Bombay, we're shooting in Tiruchendur.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of filmmakers have said that the break forced them to rethink a lot of things that they had made priorities in their lives. Was there anything like that for you?
I think for me, if you look at it, apart from work, it's a nice mix between work and my home and family. So I just managed to get a good time with both. Like I was doing stuff even during a lot of writing happened, a lot of OTT stuff happened, collaborations happened, Jaymon sir happened. Reshma herself has given me like a couple of scripts that I think I can really take forward. We set up a writer's room, so there was work constantly happening. There's a nice story that these guys have developed, which is based on the sand mafia and all that stuff. So we've taken a lot of things forward, and equally, I've managed to spend a lot more time at home. I think so. I think
That's it.
Yeah.
There was no great philosophical switch that went on, bulb that came on, nothing like that. Okay, right.
I'll probably hear all that from you.
No, I hear that from other people,
Okay.
especially people who haven't made a movie yet, and a kind of thing. Do you think it's like a hypothetical situation if Gautham Menon was a startup movie maker now, he's waiting to make his first film, is still under Rajiv Menon? What is the movie that he'd make? Would it still be Minale?
Vikram that Lokesh Kanagaraj made.
Would that be it?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Big film. I mean, big business. Kamal sir's biggest film. Almost like validation for 50 years of work.
Right.
And I love the fact that Kamal sir agreed to be part of that world and also, help his own presence in the film and all that stuff. So it was,
Right. And now there's talk of a Vettaiyaadu Part 2.
Yes. It's only because I think we've met once. Kamal sir, the producer took me and we met him. This is on the sets of Indian 2. And then he said, yes, I'm willing to listen to this. This sounds like a nice idea, right? The idea that we gave him. Post which Vikram and my own films and all that happened. So now I've got an opportunity to meet him again.
Right.
If I convince him about the screenplay and the script, then it will definitely be a film that I will be making maybe mid next year. Kind of thing.
So you're planning to kind of carry over the same characters? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So if
It's
it
the three
happens,
characters: Raghavan, Aradhana, and their daughter.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So one thing that always is a bit of a toss-up is, on the one hand, we like a filmmaker like Hitchcock because he precisely stuck to one genre and made masterpieces in that particular genre. But then there are other filmmakers who kind of keep trying things that are different. I would like to see a Gautham Menon who does this romance, action, whatever it is, but pushes it into the OTT space where he can probably handle things that he hasn't handled on the big screen for whatever reason. For example, I just spoke to Paranjit and he was talking about his new film and Nachatham Nagargiradu, and it's probably the first big mainstream film that features same-sex romance. I don't know how much a part of it is.
It's in the trailer, though.
It's in the trailer, yeah. And it's also, he said that, it's part of his, like, equality should be everything, and not just caste, but also all this and all that kind of stuff. Now, so that would be some place, not necessarily that, but I'm sure you've stopped yourself from doing certain things on screen, maybe like a romance with a big age gap or something like that, because it's not viable or something like that.
I think for me, I've not gone ahead and made these films only because of the actors. Like I remember editing something to somebody mainstream, and it was something like this. It was about two people who meet in a space, and outside of that space, they are with other people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like an open relationship kind of
No.
thing.
It's about two people who are in love from, let's say, a very long time ago, but they married to other people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
See, I also don't want to look like I'm shooting my mouth off, but there's been a lot when you talk that I can connect to some things that I've really worked on, So I narrated to somebody, and they were like, can we not suggest that they are married? And all that.
And that's exactly, yeah.
So then you can't get to make that, right? Unless you act yourself, and I don't want to do that right now, So, and this is not OTT alone. This can be mainstream film.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. I have something that, again, not shooting my mouth off, a very brilliant script written by two writers from Bombay, and it's come to me through a producer friend of mine, and they want me to direct it. But this is the film that I took to an actress, so to speak, and she said, I don't see you directing this. But I know if I make this, the first reaction when I directed to a couple of people was, oh no, not this film. And then in 1 hour's time, they call me and say, when are you making this film? So I think the audience will also go through a reaction like that. It's very edgy, it's bold. At the same time, it's a film. It's like a wiki donor in a Rajkumar Hirani kind of a treatment, and a new age sort of a film. So you can imagine what kind of genre this might be.
Right.
But I know it will work in the theaters. I need a mainstream heroine actress in this role.
Right.
So,
I think that's what people are saying. Now.
So having said that, sorry, Barry, but I've not made these films only because of actors and not because I worried whether this will work in the theaters or whether this, I made Nadanu Sinayagal. I mean,
Yeah.
but you know how to make an experiment, right? You don't spend too much on this.
Yeah.
Your crew size is much smaller, your cameras are different, and then you
it's a
make it in
smaller
such a
film.
way.
Yeah.
So there you know that you're pushing the envelope, but then you're not really going berserk about
Yeah,
it.
you would be targeting it at what at one point used to be called the A center or whatever it is. Like so that it's not
Niche or
niche
whatever. That,
Yeah.
an audience that likes that kind of film only will. I'll also say to come and watch, right? Somebody who likes Vinitha Divarva should not watch Nadanu Sinayagal, actually. That was the problem at that time. Ivare in the Mari Padam Pannaru.
Right, but does that bother you that Vinay Thanindhathu works so beautifully because of a big screen experience? I have a feeling that's why people keep returning to it, because it's the songs, the chemistry between Simbu and Trisha, the way you've directed those various scenes, that entire stretch where Karthik goes off to become a filmmaker and his phone is off and for the first time she gets a little hysterical. There are so many things I think that so many of us connect with at various points because it's like a saga, a sea of love, if you will. Like there's so many little points that everybody that I talk to says that's happened in my life, that's happened in my life, that's happened in my life. So I think it's one movie that because of its very nature of this on-off kind of love encompasses a whole. I think I'm like reviewing Vinay Thanindhathu right now, and I think
I guess it is an experience in theaters, right? And there are people who said it was like watching paint dry on a wall.
Yeah.
And there was one complete.
People actually said that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had this review in the Hindustan Times that I read, which said it was like just day one, paint drying on a wall. And I was like, okay. But then it sort of ended up becoming something that people said, this is like my life.
Yeah.
And
so does it bother you now that a majority of that audience is not going to come back to theaters anymore and are going to watch it at home?
see, I still don't think we've got a fix on that answer as yet. I still think it's any given Friday and some mood or something that's sort of, encompassing people with that they feel that this film we should go to the theaters. Now I know I could be wrong here, but I heard Tiruchitrambalam opened very slowly, but there was tremendous word of mouth, which is more than enough, right? And I think great reviews also helped. And it's a sweet film also.
Yeah.
So I think it's any given Friday. And sometimes these days Thursdays also, I think.
So Gautham, in this, this new phase of yours that you're talking about, you also have a lot of older projects, ideas that you like Kamal and Kadambari, for instance, which you've been talking about for a while. Are those still part of this? And if they are, will they be infused with this new sensibility that you're going towards? Will you have to tweak them a bit?
No, I think Kamal and Kadambari is like...
I'm not talking about that particular film.
I know, like how Sita Ramam has worked.
Right.
Dhanush's film, Tiruchitrambalam, right? So I'm hoping
it's in that
one of these throwback sort of films might really work,
Right.
Like if there are still 100 people in the theater watching Vinithandi, maybe because of the songs and the way it plays out on screen, I was hoping for a musical love story. It's like the what's that film? A Star Is Born kind of a film.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a film about two people who travel, make music, open for bigger bands on stage, and she's got a past, he's got some history and all that.
Some of that snuck into Guitar Kambi Melan.
Guitar Kambi Melan was the portion. I mean, I wanted to make Kamal Kadambari with Surya only. He's heard the script. He wanted, maybe it was too physically intense, he said. He wanted me to tone it down a bit. And as a sort of like a sneak peek sort of a thing, we decided to do the opening
bit of it
in Guitar Kambi Melan. And then Kamal Kadambari was supposed to be the next woman that he meets in his life.
Okay.
Sort of thing.
So,
but that met with some sort of mixed response, right? In that sense.
We had a long chat about it.
A lot of people tore me apart for that.
So I did. Guitar Kambi didn't really work for me.
Yeah.
But I love the ending. I love the ending because it just was like, wow, that I didn't see that coming at all. So if I'd seen a movie like that, I would just literally shaken in the theater because it's actually gone and there's been a time lapse. And you think you're watching something and you're expecting a happy ending, but it's actually something else. One thing that's been a constant criticism from some centers, but also which others probably like me don't have much of a problem is this Tanglish that you use, because you've always claimed that it's how people in Chennai speak and a lot of people in Chennai speak, so you don't have a problem with that. But going forward, this film being a different kind of zone, you probably don't have that much, that kind of a mix. But that's again something that you're not averse to, right? It's not something you're leaving behind.
No, I think today it's accepted a lot more, I think, right?
Right.
Unless these are sort of rooted films, or I don't know what the word is, but
I don't know about the word rooted, because even
Yeah.
a movie in Chennai is rooted.
I know.
Like
it's
even
rooted to
Vinaytanti
Chennai,
is rooted in its
exactly,
world.
Yeah,
It's
I
not,
said,
I mean, rooted
I'm not
does
sure
not
that's the
necessarily
word,
means,
yeah. But these are the characters that are in the film.
Right.
The story is about characters like this. It's not a story of Muthu Veeran who starts off from a small village in near Tiruchendur, right? It's not that.
Which
He's
is
not,
this movie.
He's
Yeah,
not going
yeah.
to be speaking in that language.
Yeah, yeah.
But somebody like me, or who's lived in Chennai, studied in MCC, worked with Rajiv Menon, might speak like that. Is all I'm thinking. That's all.
Now, you're an actor, and it's something that you never saw coming, right?
No, I didn't see it coming.
So,
Promise. Yeah.
are you enjoying it?
Yeah, so if the director is great and what they ask me to do is nice and the crew is lovely, because I really interact, I'm friendly and all that, then I'm loving it. And I get a lot of free time to think and write and set up my own scripts. Because when I'm directing, as you can see, today we insisted we'll do this. But then actually I will not have any time. So
Yeah,
there is a
yeah,
fight
yeah.
coordinator who's doing this. But then when they call me for the shot, I have to go back in immediately. I get about 5-10 minutes, right, to talk to you.
Yeah.
When I'm acting, after my shot is done, I don't have to, my thinking cap is not on.
Yeah,
in that
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
I'm completely unwinding from that zone to get into my own writing and stuff. So when I did Trans, I had about 4-5 hours a day to myself, which I would never get if I
While
was
directing a
directing.
film. That's
Yeah.
interesting, because I was going to ask you, actually my next question was going to be how you juggling writing and acting, and you just answered that. It's
Yeah.
like, it's not
so
that.
when I've given them the time, and then in that time they give me 3 hours off. After lunch break, you can have 1 more hour off. That 2 hours I'm looking forward to doing which I'll never get while I'm directing or even at.
Right. So would you say you're like a workaholic?
So it's even time to just unwind, Barry. Honestly, it's not just maybe the laptop is not open and I'm not writing. Yes, I might do that. If I have 2 hours, I might do that for half an hour. But the other 1.5 hours, I just completely calm down. See, this is work that I look forward to.
Yeah.
I am in my space here and I'm energetic about it. I want to do it. So it's not bothering me. But that zone is something where I calm down, I completely zone off,
Right.
I'm not thinking of anything. That also I won't get otherwise, So I'm looking forward to it. But having said that, I'm looking forward to acting with people that I'm comfortable with. Like Vettri's experience was tremendous. Krishna, my own associate who's gone on to make many films later, when he called me, I couldn't say no. Even Sita Ramam was 5 days of work in Srinagar and all that, but it was a producer that I have great respect for. And when they call me, that team, Swapna and Ashmi Dutt, I can't say no to them. And I realized there must be some reason why they're calling me.
Yeah.
So I have to give respect to that.
So one of the major jobs of a director is to direct actors, right? Or to kind of tell them the pitch of the scene and make sure that the actors are all doing what you want them to do, because actors all come from different backgrounds and you've got to kind of synchronize the styles and make it yours. Has your own acting stint made you a better director of actors? I mean, this is not to discount the talent of the actors at all.
I know. I don't think there's any connection.
No, there's no
Because
connection
when I
there?
go to another person's set to act, and I realize I don't direct like that, which it completely controls you in that sense. Even the Sita Ramam director, Hanu, had a few things to say, like when I would do a certain thing, he'll say, "Listen, sir, don't do that, sir. Can we do this?"
Okay.
But I thought that's how I would probably act or tell my actor to do in that particular moment.
Right.
Sometimes I talk to them, saying, no, this is what I thought maybe I do. Listen, let's do it that way. Even a film called Michael, the director was almost, I'm not saying micro-controlling sort of thing, but they were in control of things.
Right.
And then you just surrender sort of thing, and even Vettri did that to a large extent. Like Gautham, இப்படி இருக்கலாம், அவ்வளவு வேண்டாம். So I have this habit of being myself. When I sit down, I automatically do this to my shirt. It's from way back. He said, don't do that, that's you. This police officer won't do that. So he was noticing things like that, right? Which is okay,
Right. So there's no connection
no,
between
there's no connection.
your
I-
acting and...
I do what you said is what a director does. I give Simbu the pitch, I give him the mood. I never control him. I don't tell him whether இந்த அளவுக்கு பண்ணுங்க, nothing. I take it as what I see when he gives it to me.
Right.
Then if I think it's too much away from in my mind, I'll go and ask him whether இப்படி பண்ணலாமா இல்ல அப்படி போலாமா.
Right.
இல்ல whether correct-ஆ இருக்கும், he'll say. So
Right.
that's how we work.
Yeah. This experience, this film is going to come to an end, as is this interview, thankfully for you. What's it been like? Because we haven't seen a Gautham movies in theaters,
Since Yenino Occupying Tota,
which was
2019,
2019, right?
Yeah.
It's been 3 years.
almost 3 years.
3 years,
in
yeah,
November.
yeah. And you've been fairly consistent at putting out films.
Yeah.
Like I think almost every 1.5 years,
Yeah.
you've been out with a film, right? And after that, we got a bunch of films on
OTT.
like shorter form.
Yeah.
But this is kind of you going
Yes.
back to theaters.
Yes, really
Are,
looking
are
forward
you
to it.
are you excited?
I am excited, really looking forward to it. No idea what's working in the theater, so it's challenging and it's interesting. And I love the process of this film. We shot 55 days, spread over 7-8 months.
Right.
Simbu was brilliant. Rahman sir was, we're very happy with, how we worked and how we put together the songs for this film, and
How was
this-
that? What is that thing?
So I'm saying we created, so in Jayamon sir's script, there was no song per se. So
Right.
So then you sit on the screenplay and then you fix. So a conversation with Rahman sir, after having composed 3 songs for an earlier script, I suddenly call him, get on a Zoom call, and I say, sir, I'm keeping that aside. I'm moving on to a new
That's
script.
the love story you were supposed to make with
Yeah,
Simbu.
exactly.
Okay, right.
Nathigalil Neeradum Suryan.
Oh,
That
nice.
was the title, yeah.
Okay.
So this was, and on a Zoom call, I said, it's a new script. He said, oh, other actually, listen, I'm putting it on hold. So he told me, so we narrated the entire script to him. He said, very interesting space. Okay, disturbing, and all he said. I said, yes, sir. Enna pannalam? So I said, sir, I don't want to waste those tracks. I can easily convert them and fit them into this film. I just asked Tamari to give it one folk sort of lyric from what we earlier did. No, Gautham, we'll compose fresh for this.
Okay.
Let's leave that. That work shouldn't be touched. Don't worry about it's going to go waste. You're going to do that film anyway, we'll do that. So let's start fresh for this. Tell me your situations where all you think we can keep songs or where it can be, organic into the film. And we fixed moments in the film that, and there's one particular moment which I want to talk to Uli about later, which is completely Rahman sir driven. He said, I think this is a song moment. So I said, I didn't think of it like that. It's just a 10-15 second moment in my film. He said, no, let it be a song. And he came up with an idea of the lyrics and stuff like that. And we ended up shooting it very nicely. I mean, at least I should say that myself, even if I am saying it myself. So I love the way the film unfolded.
Actually, I don't think that's a problem at all. Because if you don't respect yourself, who is going
correct.
to?
I know, but that's just
we know our strengths and weaknesses
but-
better than everybody else.
Yeah,
So if you say you're good, what's
True,
wrong with
true.
that?
So I'm saying even with this film, I love the way we put this together.
Yeah.
Like, I'm saying if Kaka Kaka had a certain technical or the way we filmed that film, this is the next time I've ever done something really different. There are a lot of single shot sequences because I want it to be in and out in real time. Now, the entire film is not like Parthiban Sir's film. There are lots of cuts also, but there are moments where you will see that there's no cut and there's no stitching also that's done. An action sequence of 4 minutes was done in a single shot because I wanted to travel with my protagonist
Right.
as action is unfolding around him, violence is unfolding around him, and take him to the end of that and take him through without any cuts sort of thing.
Right.
And moments between the girl and the hero also we've shot, without any cuts. So I think we've done some interesting technical stuff, the way it's been lit and shot, and tremendous experience working with Jayamon. So I'm really looking forward to doing more.
Oh yeah, and I think
We'll sign off in 2
yeah,
minutes.
yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
2 minutes, yeah.
This is your third film with Simbu, a journey that started with Vinitani, 2010,
Yeah.
and then Acham, and then this one, right? Have you kind of seen him grow as an actor? Like anything that he does different? Because you do seem to share a symbiotic relationship. You bring out certain softer aspects of his persona that I haven't seen in too many of his films. Is that just because of the script, or is there something that you guys, some alchemy?
And there'll be a 4th film very soon, immediately if this film works.
Okay.
Because this is part 1 of Vendhuthanindhathukaadu. It's
Okay.
part 1 of a film. We're hoping to get into a sequel straight away.
Wow.
But the film has to work in the theaters for that, and I really hope it does.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to pulling off another film with him and many more because, like you said, there's something that comes about when we meet and when we discuss and when we are in front of the camera,
Right.
right? So I don't know how to describe it, honestly, but I feel that with him as opposed to with anybody else. Like, I mean, you must have heard that maybe he won't come on time and all that stuff, but with me, all that doesn't work. And even if he tells me like, brother, like 11:30 start padna, I know how to work around that.
Right.
He might have a reason for saying that, and honestly, he's a much changed from all that talk that you must have heard. He's much changed.
I actually
like,
met him briefly, and this
yeah.
was the first time, and he came across as a very calm person.
Yeah, that he is. So that's come about also a lot. extremely calm. Sometimes it's worrying calm, like that.
Right.
And even this action sequence, he's actually come from a bout of illness and he was sick and all that, so we couldn't rehearse with him. And I have Lee Whitaker, who's a stunt coordinator, telling me, how does this dude just turn up and do this, because he doesn't need that rehearsal and everything. He'll give you whatever you want in with very little fuss. So I get that from him, and I don't get that with many other people so easily, I'm saying. So I look forward to being there with him. Even the switch from Nadigalil Neeradum to this film, it happened just over a narration. He didn't make a fuss or anything like that. He said, this is what you want to do. I understand why. Let's get into it. And I know it's not for a hero who's been established and who's a star and all that, but I will give you that, he said.
Right.
And he gave me that.
And even physically, there's a remarkable difference between the Simbu that we saw in the teasers or the songs that were released, and the Simbu that's inside right now during the action scene.
Correct.
Gautham, have you ever considered doing films in a language other than Tamil, like Malayalam, for instance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to. In Malayalam, Telugu I have made films in Telugu.
Right. Yeah, but those were remakes, right? Have you made a straight Telugu
No,
film?
they were remakes of my own films. Some were parallel productions.
Yeah.
Garshana was made after Kaka Kaka. But I am in discussion for a Telugu film after I finish probably the sequel stuff. There's a straight Telugu film which is not a remake. And Malayalam, I've discussed extensively with Fahad. And I mean, see, every time it sounds like I'm throwing names because I've heard these comments,
If
But
you don't throw names, who's going to? I'm sorry,
but I know he said I will just come one day, land up, and we'll start shooting. And I'm hoping that day will happen. I'm also looking forward to working with Lal sir. We've also discussed extensively. I've taken a couple of things to him. I remember even taking the original idea of Vettaiyaadu to him at some point,
So while growing up, were you Camp Mohanlal or Camp Mammootty? Okay, let's not put you in that spot, right now. Finally, after this, where do you go? Do you go back to, I know you're going back to Vetri's set.
I have to finish post on this. It's just 3-4 days of work left. Rahman sir's background score is coming in, so mixing will happen. Vetri's film, and then I'm also doing a stint in Tangar Bachchan sir's film, I Couldn't Say No.
Okay.
Very emotional story. The man himself is very emotional, so I've already filmed like some 3-4 days for it.
Right.
There's another 3-4 days that he wants me to. And then there's a Telugu film called Michael, for which I have a couple of days. But if everything goes well, and hopefully it will, we will start the sequel immediately. Direction. Yeah.
I hope that happens because, I'm really looking forward to, I don't know if I should say this, but Gautham Menon 2.0.
Okay.
This
I'll
sounds
take that,
sounds like a new beginning or whatever it is. But thank you so much, and as always, a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.